New voices leading the pitching staff. What's that been like? What are your impressions so far?
It's been great. Flo's extremely hands-on, which has been a blast to be around a coach who's not afraid to make adjustments and make his voice known. And Dan Straley helping out in the non-coaching role as well, picking his brain. A guy who's been a 8-year big leaguer. There's so much experience there to just eat up. And so for us, that's been really cool because whether it's a young guy or an older guy, there's no one who's too good to not pick a guy like Dan's brain. But in general, it's been great. It's my third pitching coach in 4 years here, and so being able to take things away from every staff that I've been fortunate enough to play under has been really good.
Just been your focus this off season and just kind of how it's progressed through fall?
Yeah, I had a big role last year, and so for me, the number one goal coming into the fall was to just be healthy. That I think that's the number one thing that takes guys away from opportunities at the college level is just the ability to not be healthy. And so for me, that was the number one thing. After that, it's just been continuing to kind of harness some of the things that I thought I did well, but some of the things that I didn't do well last year. Some small mechanical adjustments, trying to find a couple ticks of velocity somewhere, and then just making sure I head into the spring harnessing what made me good last year, and not losing that, not losing the ability to command the baseball and throw pitches, multiple pitches in the zone, and for me that's been good because I've not trying to reinvent the wheel as a pitcher. I think that's the number one priority is find ways to continue to get better, but don't lose what's made me effective.
Right. You mentioned it's your third pitching coach here. Just how did that first transition help you, and what did you learn from that into this second transition where now you're here with Coach Flo? What did you learn from that pitching coach transitional period that you can take and help make this transition easier?
Well, I think it's fun because no matter how many innings you had last year, whether you threw 360, I think Clark had almost 75. Everyone pretty much comes in on the same step because of the new staff. For me, Hawk was a coach who I greatly benefited from the mental side, and Angier helped me a lot physically. And so being able to harness the things that I've learned through both of them, and then take that same approach into working with Flo and being like, hey, I'm not going to lose the mental side of things. I've got that in my back pocket, but now how can we continue to focus on the physical side? And then, the transition to a new coach is also cool because every fall is it's pretty much like a fresh start, And so for me, that's been fun because for guys like Clark, Fethy, and I, it's, we're all learning together despite being with each other for the last 2-3 years.
You've played different roles for this staff over the years. Is there a specific role with the 2026 team you're chasing right now?
Not necessarily. I think, and something that I've talked to a couple of the young guys about is, if we get a chance and the opportunity to go compete in Omaha, I don't think anyone's going to care what their role is when it comes down to it. And the same thing I said last year, chasing a Big Ten championship and a regional win was, I don't care if I got a ring on my finger at the end of the year, whether that's a national championship ring or a conference championship ring. And so I feel lucky that I've been able to understand the way that all those roles work because nothing coming into this year, nothing will be new now. Whether it's, a Saturday starter, a Sunday starter, the midweek guy, a back end arm, I've been fortunate enough to do all of them. And so I don't think there's a specific goal in mind. We've brought in some very talented arms, and we returned some very talented arms too with decent amount of experience. So I think however the pieces fall, I can pretty confidently say that I think our pitching staff's going to be pretty damn good.
Right. On a similar vein, when you do lose two members of your rotation and there are open spots on the weekend, just how have you seen not only your level of competition, but everybody else's level of competition trying to raise to fill that void to play bigger innings, play a bigger role for this team? How have you seen that change since there are those opportunities with the new pitching staff?
Yeah, I mean, going into the first week of February, we play 4 weekend games, and there's not a single guy who's guaranteed one of those starts, whether that's, Clark being the Saturday guy last year or, me and Will splitting time in midweeks, none of us none of the three of us are guaranteed a spot in that weekend rotation, and everyone's got to earn it. And so there's been, JUCO guys, freshman guys, big D1 portal guys that have came in and everyone's competed well. But at the same time, the fall's the fall, and who's going to come back and perform well in January headed into the season? Because I think being here long enough, I've seen it every year now where sometimes your best arms in the fall don't come back and they're not ready to compete in the spring, or vice versa. Some of your guys who didn't perform well in the fall come back and you're like, man, this guy's a different dude. And sure enough, he's the Sunday starter. And so for me, I think that's the cool thing is it's been a very competitive and developmental fall for a lot of us, but I think we're all hungry to get going in January and February and fight it out.